Welcome back to The Explainer. You know that feeling, right? You're listening to Spotify, and it plays a song you have never, ever heard before, and it's just perfect. It's exactly what you wanted to hear. How on earth does it do that? Well, today we're prying open the lid and looking directly inside Spotify's brain.
So if you were with us last time, you'll remember we dug into how Spotify builds that unique taste profile just for you. We talked about how it goes beyond just genres you like and creates this deep musical fingerprint that is 100% yours.
But honestly, that's only half the battle. Knowing your taste is one thing, but actually picking the one perfect song to play next out of a library of over 100 million tracks? Phew, that is a whole other level of difficulty. So that's our mission for today, to pull back the curtain and see how this machine actually thinks. Now, the first thing you have to get out of your head is this idea of one single giant algorithm running the show. The reality is actually way cooler. It's more like a committee of different AI experts. Each one has a very specific job, a unique way of seeing the world, and they all have to argue and debate to pick your next song. And today, we're going to meet them. All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to start with the committee member I call the sociologist, the one that just watches people. Then we'll meet the content experts, the ones who actually listen to the music and read about it. We'll see how all their opinions get mashed together into this beautiful galaxy of songs. Then we'll witness the final gamble of choosing that one track. And we'll wrap up by asking a huge question about the future of music itself.
So first up, let's meet the chairperson of this committee, the oldest and most powerful member, the sociologist. And here's the wild thing about this AI. It's completely deaf. It has never heard a single note of music. Its one and only job is to watch what millions and millions of people do.
It runs on this core idea called collaborative filtering. And that sounds fancy, but it's really just a simple observation about people. It's the idea that if you and I both love the same 50 obscure indie songs, there's a pretty darn good chance that you're going to love the 51st song that I've got on repeat. It's basically finding your musical soulmates all over the planet and then stealing their recommendations.
So how does it know what you like? It's not about you hitting a like button. It's watching what you do. Every action is a vote. Adding a song to a playlist? That's a massive thumbs up. Listening to a song over and over? Another huge vote. But skipping a song in the first 30 seconds? Oh yeah, that's a powerful vote in the other direction. This sociologist is constantly tallying these tiny behavioral votes to map out our collective taste. Okay, but this system has one giant, fatal flaw. Think about it. What does it do with a brand new song uploaded 5 minutes ago, with 0 plays? It has no data. It has no idea what to do. To the sociologist, that new song is completely invisible. This is called the cold start problem, and it's a huge issue. To solve it, the committee needs an expert that can actually, listen to the music. And this is where the content experts get called in. When a new track is a total ghost to the sociologist, these are the AIs that get to work. Their job isn't to look at people, it's to look at the song itself, the sound, the words, the culture around it, and figure out what it is. And there are 2 key players here. First, you have the musicologist. Think of this as the audio engineer. It analyzes the raw sound waves of the music. Then you have the librarian. This one is a voracious reader. It's a language AI that scours the entire internet to understand what the human world is saying about this new track. So, how does a computer hear a song? Well, here's the trick. It doesn't. It looks at it. It takes the audio file and turns it into a picture, a colorful heat map of frequencies called a spectrogram. Then, a powerful computer vision AI, the same kind of tech in self-driving cars, scans the picture. It spots the basics, like a kick drum here, a hi-hat there. Then it pieces those together into patterns, like a classic rock beat. And finally, it makes a judgment about abstract things, like the mood or genre. It's literally seeing the sound.
And the final result of all that analysis is what you could call the song's audio DNA. It's a set of scores for things we humans feel intuitively. You've got danceability, which is pretty self-explanatory, energy, which is about how intense the track is, and my personal favorite, valence, which is basically the musical vibe check. Is this a happy, upbeat song or a sad, gloomy one? Now the AI has a fingerprint for the sound itself.
But of course, a song is more than just sound waves. It's culture. And that's the librarian's job. It reads all the music blogs, all the reviews, it watches Twitter to see what's blowing up. But its secret weapon? All of us. It analyzes the names of billions of user playlists. So when it sees a new song pop up in thousands of playlists called Gym or Beast Mode, it knows, aha, this is a workout song. That's a kind of context the audio alone could never give you. Okay, deep breath.
We've got the sociologist watching people, the musicologist analyzing sound, and the librarian reading text. 3 totally different experts with totally different opinions. How in the world do you combine all that chaos into a single, coherent map of all music?
Well, this is where the real magic happens. It's a concept called vector embeddings. Forget the jargon, here's all you need to know. Imagine a gigantic, dark space, a galaxy. And in this galaxy, every single song on Spotify is one tiny point of light. The one and only rule of this galaxy is simple. Distance means similarity. Things that are close together sound and feel similar. Things that are far apart are different. That's it.
And what's so incredible is that the songs organize themselves. They form these beautiful clusters and constellations. So you'll have this dense, angry-looking cluster of Swedish death metal way over in one corner of the universe. And then, light years away, you'll find this calm, hazy nebula of lo-fi study beats. A song's position is a beautiful, unified average of what it sounds like, what people say about it, and who listens to it.
So, the map is built, the galaxy exists, the system knows where your personal taste lives on that map. All that's left is to make the final call, and that job goes to the last member of our committee, the gambler. Its whole purpose is to place a bet on the single best song for you right this second. And the gambler is always torn between 2 strategies. On one hand, you've got exploitation. This is your musical comfort food. It's playing that song it knows for a fact you love. The goal is just to make you happy right now. But on the other hand, you've got exploration. This is the tasting menu. It's taking a risk on a new song you might discover and fall in love with. The goal there is to keep you engaged for the long haul. And here's the best part. You are constantly teaching the gambler how to do its job better. Every move you make is a reward signal. You skip that new song in under 30 seconds? That's a big flashing red light that says, bad bet. Avoid this part of the galaxy. You listen all the way through? That's a nice little pat on the back, but you hit that heart button or add it to a playlist, that is the jackpot. The system goes, yes, we found one. Use this as a clue to find more just like it.
So, that's how it works? It's an unbelievably powerful system for figuring out what we want to hear. But all this power leads to a much bigger, kind of spooky question. Is this AI just a mirror reflecting our culture back at us? Or is it now so powerful that it's actually started to create our culture?
Well, the evidence is mounting that it's definitely shaping the music itself. Artists are smart. They're reverse engineering the system. This has given rise to what some people call Spotify core. You know how so many pop songs start right with the chorus now? That's to get you hooked before that 30-second skip penalty kicks in. Songs are getting shorter, so you play them more times. And there's a real fear that this could lead to safer, more generic music designed just to fit the vibe of a popular playlist.
And that really gets to the heart of it. We've basically built the most powerful DJ in the history of the world. It knows everything you've ever liked with perfect memory. But the one thing it can't know is the person you could become. It can't account for that weird, challenging song that you hate at first, but that eventually grows on you and completely changes your taste forever.
And that is exactly where we're going to pick up next time. We are going to dive head first into the really tough questions, the ethics, the filter bubbles, the impact on artists' careers, and what it truly means to live in a world where our art is being shaped by our code.
Thanks for going down this rabbit hole with us on The Explainer. It's a fascinating and complicated topic, and we can't wait to unpack it more with you next time. See you then.